Recent research is showing that Australia has the highest rates of harm from gambling in the world. The rates in Victoria were 5.84 billion in the previous financial year. That's the expenditure on gambling. And in the city of Greater Dandenong, it's ranked third out of the Victorian local government areas for the spending on pokies. The losses per adult in that year were $954. So if you think about a lot of people aren't gambling, you can see that the amount that people are spending is a lot of money. Hayden Brown from City of Greater Dandenong has a lot of great research and literature comparing Dandenong to other local government areas, and the rates are so much higher in Casey and Dandenong than they are in areas like Boroondara, where the people living there are actually earning a lot more. So the people who can't afford to spend this money are the ones who are spending the most.
I think for Dandenong the problem is that when people don't, if you come from a different culture, you don't recognise that counselling is available, you don't understand what counselling is, and you don't necessarily understand that gambling is a bit of a trick. So for Dandenong, where not everyone is Australian, not everyone is educated here, and we embrace that fantastic multiculturalism, but we can't forget that comes with things that those people wouldn't necessarily understand, and harms that happen to them.
Australia was the first country to deregulate pokies, and so we do have them a lot more accessible than other countries do. The fact that they're not just in casinos. All countries have different legislation around online gambling as well, but it is very accessible here. One thing to be thinking about is the convergence of gaming and gambling, and so particularly looking at our young people, but older people as well, using online gaming. The way that the games are designed is they're designed to hook people in, and the gaming and gambling industries are really learning from each other in that way, making it easier to win on games so that kids will be really normalised to it and think that it's an easy way of making money.
The younger generation are getting into gambling, or are sort of influenced by what they don't think is gambling, but is gambling.
People think of it as a social opportunity for them. People are very lonely, so they can go to a venue and be welcomed. The staff treat them well, they know their name, they have loyalty points and discount meals and beverages, so there's a lot of perks. Also, in terms of sports betting, the marketing is really insidious, so it gives that sense of mateship and being part of the community.
Gambling harm is anything that's negative that comes from gambling. Now, interestingly, we often think it's just financial.
We're working with trauma, we're working with grief and loss, we're working with anxiety and depression, we're working with all those issues. Also substance use issues, both drugs and alcohol, and that's a real risk factor because when people are substance affected, obviously their control around their gambling might be impaired.
With problem gambling is that it's the problem, it's not the individual that is to blame. So I think it's sometimes reflecting on the problem, not on the individual. It also helps destigmatising the individual as well.
We're really trying at the foundation to move away from the word problem gambling, because it already says it's a stigma. It's already saying there's a problem. But gambling in Australia is legal, and we have 2 public holidays a year. So it's a real bit of an issue when we say it's legal, let's do it, let's have a public holiday. Oh, but it's a problem. So there's a grey line about when it becomes a problem, and so we really try and talk about the harm. I think it's 70% of Victorians gamble. So those bad people, are actually us, and we're judging ourselves. And everyone always thinks that it's someone else or that they're a problem. But in actual fact, it's the everyday person who is only dropping $5 here, $5 there. It's only $5, but over a week that's $50, over a month that's a couple of hundred, over a year that's a lot more money. Often people will gamble but they won't get help. So we need to come and make it a conversation. If I leave here today, my one thing would be to start talking about it. People will admit to addiction, and they'll admit to mental health. Well done, Beyond Blue and the drug companies. But can we now admit to gambling? Don't make it a secret, make it a conversation.
I think just being open and honest, and just ask them whether it is affecting their everyday life. Let them to identify whether it's an issue for them. not just us assuming that it's a problem. If they gamble, they're going to get in trouble.
So what we provide is therapeutic counselling and financial counselling for people who are gambling, also people affected by gambling, so their family and friends. In the southern region, we cover a large part of Melbourne. We have 13 different locations, and we just go through our intake, which is 95755353. And so we just ask some questions to get people registered to participate in our service, and then they can access our service for free, and it's ongoing. So we're able to work on the underlying issues as well. We have access to interpreters, so it really is an opportunity to think about what's going on and see if any change can be made.
It might be someone who's concerned about another person in their circle. So I tend to lead people into the conversation. So I would go with, what did you do on the weekend? Did that cost much? Did you go into that room? Yeah. Did you lose money? Oh, so you came home having lost a bit of money. If you had that money, what would you have rather spent it on? So, was there a bit of regret around that?
So if they do choose to gamble, it might be a matter of leaving cards at home, setting time limits and money limits, and also thinking about the frequency, whether there might be other activities to do instead.
And so I sort of steer them around, because as soon as you say the word gambling, people say, it's not me.
At an individual level, I love this job. Like, it's really rewarding work. I see wins every day. For people who want to change, it's really possible.